In this episode of Retro Gaming Night, we play Metroid Prime.
Casually hardcore.
Taste the game clothing. Game news.
And casually hardcore.
Press start.
Hi there, I'm Mark. Welcome to another episode of Retro Gaming Night. Today we're looking at Metroid Prime on the Nintendo GameCube. So if you've never played a Metroid title before, you're in for a treat. Basically, Metroid first came out on the original Nintendo Entertainment System in 1987, so a long time ago. It is a 2D platform adventure game. Basically, it mixes Super Mario Bros. With Zelda, so you have your platforming from Mario and your adventuring from Zelda. There's some light shooting in here as well, but it's mainly about puzzle solving. In this game, you don't play a level, complete it, go on to the next one. You play in a huge world. You play on one single level with locked off areas. So you have to go backwards and forwards to complete the game. So you'll hit a locked door and you'll need to go back to a different room to find an answer to open that door and carry on. Metroid is the title that basically helped coin the phrase Metroidvania. So there are a series of games where you have these huge levels and you have to negotiate them, do a bit of like puzzle solving, a little bit of platforming, but basically you've just got one huge world with locked off areas to go through. Now, the Metroid series is absolutely huge on the Nintendo consoles. The last time we saw this before Metroid Prime was on the Super Nintendo. There was rumours of an N64 version coming out. It never happened, no one ever saw anything. And then we got this on the GameCube. So you star as Samus, who is a sort of intergalactic bounty hunter type person. It's actually a woman, which surprises a lot of people because they assume that it's going to be a man in the costume. And basically you are here to investigate something. So we won't go too far into it. If you're wondering the name Metroid Prime, the name Metroid stands for a bad enemy in the original game, which is featured throughout all of them, and you'll find out more about that as you play the game. So in this is actually a first-person shooter or first-person action-adventure. This scared a lot of people when it was first announced. When it was shown at E3 before the GameCube's launch, it didn't look very good. There was only a short clip of it shown. It looked nothing like this. It looked terrible. It was made by a studio called Retro, who no one had ever heard of, and no one really had much confidence in it at all. When it was announced it's also going to be first person, people were confused. How are you meant to jump in a first person game? Turok Dinosaur Hunter tried it and pretty much failed. It is difficult. You can't see the floor, you can't see where your feet are or anything. That worried people, but you jump in this and it works fine, and we'll talk about that a bit more in a second. So as you can see, you have your normal gun that you can shoot things with. It's not really used that often. This isn't Halo, this isn't COD, this is an action adventure game. So this works with just a single stick, so the left stick controls your movement, the right stick doesn't do anything for movement. And basically you play it like GoldenEye on the N64, so you hold down the L trigger, that locks onto enemies or objects, or you can hold down the right trigger for your free aim, but you can't move around. You have your visor. Now this is a key part in the game. So here you use your visor to select an item, and there's many around the levels, and they tell you things. It could be something mundane, such as this is a door, this is an airlock, or it could be information about an enemy, or actually activate something in the level. So there we've activated this lock here. So we come out of that, we can lock on, we can now shoot things, and then this little tutorial just teaches you the controls basically. So the story of this is pretty simple. It's not really told through the game because you're just adventuring, you're exploring. There's little bits and pieces, but you don't really have cutscenes apart from the beginning and the end. The story is told through the scans, so they're quite easy to miss. If you want to miss them, you can do if you're not interested in the story. But if you are, you need to scan everywhere. There are tons of things to scan throughout all the levels. There is no loading in this at all. You have noticed that you've not seen one single loading screen here. They're all cleverly hidden behind these doors. So as you shoot a door, it unlocks it and it loads up the next area, but without you realising. So if you see me shooting lots of doors, that's why. If we go back to the visor, as you can see, look, there's loads of them in just this area alone. So you can find out about enemies and creatures, all sorts of things throughout the game world. A lot of the times you will have to scan in an area to get through to another section. Otherwise you'll get stuck. There are lots of puzzles in this. There are lots of areas you'll have to keep coming back to and revisiting. When you start the game, you start pretty much powered up. You have most of your items, as it were. As you play the game, like in most Metroids, you lose them all. So you'll lose all the items you need, and you'll need to go and get them so you can get further on. So for example, you might lose your jump boots, so it means you can't get to a higher edge. You'll find it later on in the game, and that means you can go back to a previous area right at the start, and then you can jump up to that ledge. So here's the Morph Ball. This is an iconic feature in the Metroid games of turning into a ball and being able to roll around, and you'll need to use this a lot to get through the level. So as you see there's an area you can only get through because that's the only way to fit through. As you play through the game, there's maps that you download, so we'll just have a quick look at the map just so you can get an idea for how the game works as level wise. So as you can see here, you can see where we started over there, and you can see where we've still got to go as well. So as you can see, it's not just one level with a start and finish. You have to get through like a maze-like structure. As you play through, there are totally different areas. So you have your forest area, your snow area, your fire area, and so on. But the Morph Ball is used for puzzles as well. So there'll be areas where you have to use it as a lock. So it's basically a key to a lock and lets you in. And others where you need to go on onto rails to get around the level as well. You know, there's all sorts of different things, and there's things you'll see right at the very start of the game that you won't be able to access till at least halfway through, and you'll have to come back and explore, and that'll open up a different route to a different area and let you carry on with the game. So as I said, there are shooting mechanics in this. They are not really used. You only have a couple of weapons. You can't change your weapons like in GoldenEye or any other sort of first-person shooter. You are limited to just what you have. Here there are 4 slots on the right hand side there, so you have 4 more items. You can do a charge shot, and you've got rockets as well, which you use here for certain things. And you have to collect them, so you can't use them unlimitedly. So there's just a few of the creatures around here. The creatures are actually pretty gruesome. You know, Retro did a fantastic job on this game of actually capturing the Metroid universe. You know, everyone was worried, but they needn't be, because they did a fantastic job. Now everyone loves them and wants them to make more Metroid games. They've released 3 Metroid games in the series, 1, 2 and 3. You can get the first 2 on the Wii, the third is on the first 2 on the GameCube. The third is only on the Wii, but they released a trilogy pack where they added Wii controls, so you can play with your Wii remote and nunchuck, which is actually probably a better experience than using the controller, just because it's much better at aiming in a first-person shooter. It is extremely hard to find that trilogy pack. It's very expensive on eBay. So your best bet price-wise is to get the 2 GameCube games and then the separate Wii version. The game also has a whole bunch of things to collect. So on your left-hand side, where you see your normal visor, there's also other visors you can get as well. So you can get a visor to see infrared, heat, and so on. And they all come into play later on in the game with different puzzles. This game is really difficult though. It's a horribly difficult game. The boss fights are difficult. Normally you're lucky that you can save after a boss fight, but not before. There's a lot of backtracking in the game. This is not an easy game. This is not a game for kids at all. So do be aware that you'll need to have many hours free. You'll probably even want a guide if you want to get through this with the minimum of fuss, because it requires a lot of thinking to play as well. There are so many different areas to go to, and things like that. So one thing here is telling us you can hold down A so you can pick up things that are off, so you don't have to collect them all. So you do your little charge shot. Looks like we've missed something. So yeah, as you see, you have to scan everything. Scanning really fills you in on the story. There is an unlock if you scan everything in the game. but you are going to spend hours and hours and hours just scanning every single room. There is just so much stuff to scan in this game. This game does actually link up to Metroid Fusion on the GBA, so you get a nice little treat if you do that. But yeah, this is Metroid. As you can see, it's quite an atmospheric game. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It sounds even better. You know, this is a classic Nintendo game. It's just a shame it's so difficult. It really requires dedication and time to play it. But if you do and you complete it, you will have experienced something absolutely wonderful. So I'm just going to quickly show you a quick boss battle in this tutorial. You can download stuff into your log as well. As you can see, you can lock on, you can strafe around RGN. So it plays a lot different to Halo games and things like that. So hopefully you have enjoyed this video. It's given you some interest in Metroid and checking it out. If you like it, don't forget to hit that like button down below the video there. Don't forget to subscribe as well, because we're doing a whole bunch of videos. We've only got a few more left, I think, for our whole month of videos. After that, we'll be releasing one every week or so, catching up on other games. If there's any games you'd like to see, leave them in the comments below. And then yeah, until next time, stay casually hardcore.
Did you enjoy that video? Then hit that like button. Why not subscribe as well and get the latest videos, news and competitions? Don't forget to check out casuallyhardcore.com, where you can buy hundreds of video game shirts and geek clothing, or make your own shirts with worldwide shipping also available. Until next time, stay casually hardcore.